Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual. My name is Utsaf Parekh and here are the top stories of the day. US President Donald Trump hosted Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer at the White House. They held discussions on a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia. Starmer pushed for security guarantees for Ukraine. He also handed over an invitation by King Charles III to Trump for a second state visit. Starmer is set to hold a major Ukraine summit on Sunday. He has invited more than a dozen European leaders to discuss Ukraine and its security. NATO chief Mark Rutte and EU chief Ursula von der Leyen are likely to attend. Ireland's Prime Minister Michael Martin held a brief discussion with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky. The two met at Shannon Airport, where Zelensky stopped while on his way to Washington, D.C. Martin said that he reaffirmed Ireland's support for Ukraine and backed its bid to join the European Union. Russia has ruled out returning Ukrainian regions that it has annexed. Moscow said this to US officials. Russia and the US were holding a new round of talks in the Turkish city of Istanbul. The talks are a step towards normalizing relations between Washington and Moscow. Trump has been pushing for an end to the Russia-Ukraine war and a return to normal ties with the Kremlin. Israeli defense forces have acknowledged their complete failure to prevent Hamas's October 7, 2023 attack. 1,200 Israelis lost their lives that day. The IDF stated that they had been overconfident and had miscalculated Hamas's military capabilities. A Palestinian man rammed a car into a bus stop in northern Israel yesterday. The Israeli police said that at least 13 people were injured. This included a police officer. Israel has called it a terror attack. Abdullah Öcalan, the leader of the outlawed Kurdish group, the PKK, has called for the end of the Kurdish conflict with Turkey. He hopes to end the 4 decades of armed struggle in the country's southeastern region. Tens of thousands of people have been killed in the conflict. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has promised a strong response to upcoming US tariffs. This was after US President Donald Trump issued a fresh tariff threat. He said tariffs on Canada will come into effect on the 4th of March. Despite his threat to hit back, Trudeau added that Canada did not want a trade war with its neighbor. Meanwhile, European Union Chief Ursula von der Leyen met Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi today. They discussed ways to enhance the India-EU strategic partnership. Von der Leyen said that the EU was eyeing defense and security ties with India. North Korea has test-fired another strategic cruise missile. The country's leader, Kim Jong-un, oversaw the test. North Korean state media said that the missile test was a warning to the country's adversaries. Pyongyang says that the launch was aimed to show the country's counter-attack capabilities and the readiness of its various nuclear operations. Moving to climate news, hundreds of scientists and experts at the US National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration have been laid off. The layoffs are part of the wider terminations by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. Environmentalists fear that gutting the NOAA and privatizing weather services will have dire consequences. Amid increasing wildfire disasters, US Forest Service officials have warned that scientific resources to study and prevent the fires are shrinking. Federal funding for wildfire prevention has been halted under US President Donald Trump's budget cuts. Experts stress that understanding fire behavior is more critical than ever, especially as communities expand into wildfire-prone areas. A wildfire in northeastern Japan's Iwate prefecture continues to spread. It has left one person dead and forced the evacuation of over 3,300 residents. The fire has already destroyed at least 84 homes. Despite efforts from local firefighters, the blaze remains uncontrolled. Japan's self-defense force has deployed 7 helicopters to assist in extinguishing the flames. India is set to experience a record-breaking heatwave. This March could be one of the warmest on record. Temperatures are expected to reach 40 degrees Celsius in some Indian states. This is raising concerns over India's wheat production. With 3 consecutive years of poor yields, officials worry that the soaring temperatures could further impact crops. After prolonged negotiations, a landmark agreement has been reached at the United Nations Biodiversity talks in Rome. A financial roadmap to protect global ecosystems has been accepted. The deal is a critical step towards the 2022 target of preserving 30% of the world's land and seas. The deal overcame political divisions that had previously stalled discussions. While rich countries resisted a dedicated biodiversity fund, a compromise leaves room for a final decision at the COP28 climate summit. On to business and tech news. US President Donald Trump said that his proposed tariffs will come into effect on the 4th of March. This includes 25% tariffs on Canadian and Mexican imports and an additional 10% duty on Chinese goods. Trump cited insufficient progress on curbing fentanyl flows as the reason for his tariffs. Bitcoin fell by more than 5% to $79,666 for the first time since November 11th. The dip followed uncertainty over Donald Trump's new tariff threat. Bitcoin has shed a quarter of its market value since mid-December. Indian markets spiraled downwards in early trade today. The decline came ahead of India's gross domestic product or GDP data release for the financial year 2024-25. The Bombay Stock Exchange's Sensex declined 1.28%, while Nifty 50 tanked 1.25%. The dip also followed Trump's latest tariff threat. India has reduced tariffs on the import of American whiskey or bourbon. The import duty has been reduced from 100% to 100% from the earlier 150%, a decision that will benefit the U.S. whiskey distillers. This came after Trump criticized unfair levies in the South Asian market and proposed reciprocal tariffs. The Indian government has appointed Finance Secretary Tuhin Kanta Pandey as the new chairman of the Securities and Exchange Board of India, or SEBI. He will replace Madhubhi Puri Butch, whose tenure is ending tomorrow. She took office on the 2nd of March 2022. The sales of Monster beverages have crossed market expectations in the fourth quarter. Its net sales rose by 4.7% to $1.81 billion, beating expectations with a 3.73% rise. Monster's efforts to ramp up production, promotions and launch new products pushed its sales during the holiday quarter. UK-based Rolls-Royce surged its midterm targets, this as the company reported $3.1 billion in profits, marking a 55% rise from the previous year and beating market expectations. The company also announced a $1.27 billion share buyback. The shares of Rolls-Royce jumped by 19% to an all-time high. TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, is set to invest $8.8 billion in Thailand over the next 5 years. The company said that the money will be invested in data centers. TikTok signed a $3.8 billion agreement last month in data hosting services. The company did not clarify whether this is part of the latest investment announced. Canada's privacy watchdog has opened a probe against billionaire Elon Musk's social media platform X. The watchdog will probe whether X's use of Canadian personal data to train artificial intelligence models broke privacy rules. OpenAI has rolled out a research preview of its GPT 4.5 model for pro users and developers worldwide. The new model has improved abilities to recognize patterns and greater emotional intelligence. The ChatGPT developer has plans to expand access in the coming weeks. Now we move to sports news, and of course we start with cricket. Pakistan's Champions Trophy run has ended on a disappointing note. The hosts finished at the bottom of their group with just a single point. Pakistan suffered losses to New Zealand and India in the tournament. Their match against Bangladesh was washed out due to rain. Australia's Mitchell Starc is vying to make a comeback in the Indian Premier League. The bowler revealed the reason why he missed out on the Champions Trophy. Starc says a sore ankle had forced him to sit out the tournament. But now he says he's looking forward to playing with the Delhi Capitals in the IPL. In football, the coach of the Turkish outfit Fenerbahce, Jose Mourinho, has been given a 4-match ban. He has also been handed a fine by the Turkish Football Federation. This follows his comments about Turkish referees after a match. Mourinho had criticized match officials in a press conference after a Super League match on Monday. Turkish football officials said that his comments were derogatory and offensive. And it was the 125th anniversary of German giants Bayern Munich. The club was founded on February 27th in the year 1900. The anniversary party was attended by the club's CEO, president, and notable players. Bayern has 33 German league titles and is by far the most successful German football club. Iraq has refused to play a World Cup qualifier against Palestine and Jordan. They have cited concerns over neutrality and fairness. Iraq's Football Federation has written to FIFA asking the body to move the game to a new location. The match, set for the 25th of March, was supposed to be held near Jerusalem, but Iraq refused to play in Palestine over the lack of VAR technology in the country. Former NFL player Chris Kluwe alleged that he was fired from his job over anti-MAGA protests. Kluwe was coaching a local high school team in California. The former Minnesota Vikings punter was arrested over a protest at a city council meeting. Kluwe also made critical comments about the Trump administration. In tennis, Daniil Medvedev lost his cool at the chair umpire during the Dubai Tennis Championships. The Russian top seed accused the match official of double standards. Medvedev was handed a code violation for his conduct after he lost the second set. This led to a heated exchange between Medvedev and the umpire. The spat erupted during Medvedev's quarterfinal match against the Dutchman Talon Griekspoor. Meanwhile, world number 1 Yannick Sinner will be missing out on the Sportsman of the Year award. His nomination was cancelled. This was due to a doping controversy which resulted in Sinner being banned. The Italian tennis star tested positive twice for a banned substance last year. He is not allowed to play for 3 months. Venus Williams has refused a wildcard entry offer to the Indian Wells next month. The Grand Slam champion was invited by match officials, but she didn't take it up. Williams, who is the former world number 1, now ranks 975th in the world. She has not played a match since March 2024 after losing the Miami Open. Russian chess grandmaster Boris Spassky has died at the age of 88. He obtained French nationality in the year 1978. Spassky held the world champion title from 1969 to 1972. He lost his crown to an American grandmaster in a historic game that was later tagged as the match of the century. In entertainment news, hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs is facing 4 new sexual assault lawsuits. They've been filed under the Gender-Motivated Violence Act. Plaintiffs are claiming that they were drugged and assaulted. One accuser detailed an alleged assault from the year 1995, where she was left unconscious and later woke up with injuries suggesting sexual violence. The lawsuits are the latest in a string of legal troubles for Combs, further tarnishing his reputation. The sudden deaths of legendary actor Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy Arakawa are under investigation. Though authorities have stated that foul play is not currently suspected, a search warrant affidavit calls the deaths suspicious enough to call for further examination. Ackman was found in the room of their house, while Arakawa was discovered on the bathroom floor near a prescription pill bottle. Shocking new details have emerged about Friends star Matthew Perry's final days. A documentary titled Matthew Perry, A Hollywood Tragedy, claims that the actor received 27 doses of ketamine in the 3 days before his tragic death on October 28, 2023. According to U.S. Attorney Martin Estrada, the ketamine was allegedly administered by a live-in assistant with no medical training. James Gunn's highly anticipated Superman film, set for a 2025 release, is already generating buzz. The latest screening for Warner Brothers executives were met with overwhelming praise. According to reports, the film leans into humor and heart, much like Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy films. Unlike past Superman adaptations, this version will skip the origin story and focus on Clark Kent's first year as a superhero in Metropolis. Meghan Markle is giving fans a sneak peek of her upcoming Netflix series With Love, Meghan. In a behind-the-scenes video shared on Instagram, Markle is seen baking, beekeeping and dancing in her Montecito home. The teaser even includes a cameo from the British Prince Harry, hinting at a personal touch to the series. With the premiere just days away, Markle is building excitement for her latest venture. That's all for this episode of Fast and Fast.